Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Above the Rim Rundown, where we run down all things NBA. I am one of your hosts, Memo, and right beside me, I've got Hoops. How you doing?
What's going on, man? Overall, I've been doing good, just getting through in life, working and a little bit of a crazy week. But aside from that, everything has been good. How have you been?
Good. I think the best way you could describe this week is crazy, for many reasons that we don't have to talk about. But yeah, in my personal life, it's been crazy with school and everything. There's just a lot going on. But like it's still fun. I'm enjoying the process, even though it is a little overwhelming. But yeah, nothing too crazy except uh yeah, I got the tickets for the water park that we're going to this Sunday. I guess I'll let you know more details like after the recording, but I'm hyped. I'm hyped. It's we're going. My two sisters and my sister's boyfriend, who's also like our friend, is joining us. So it's gonna be very exciting. I've been there before for my birthday last year. I really enjoyed it, and this will be your first time, right?
Um, yeah, I believe so. Apparently, my mom said that when I was like a really young kid, we went, but I don't remember. So I consider this my first time because I was probably like way too young to even
Uh huh.
remember anything sounds like. So I would say, yeah, the first real time going.
And that was like the old version because like this is
Yeah.
the brand new remodeled or reimagined park, the different location, even though it's like nearby still. But yeah, it's really fun. I'm excited for this Sunday, and luckily it is gonna be on the warmer side. Last year it was a bit cloudy, but it wasn't too bad. But the sun will be out on Sunday, so wear your
That's good.
sunscreen.
Yeah. I think it's better that the sun is out because like if it's gonna be like a cold overcast day and you're gonna be getting wet, that might be set for disaster.
Yeah, I'm already like recovering from a cold, so I'm sure that wouldn't help if it's cold and I'm wet.
Yeah. At that point we may have to have like changed the plan to something else, low key.
Yeah,
Good thing we don't have to think about it.
uh huh. But yeah, everything sounds good. And yeah, I guess we could get started with some basketball talk. We are continuing our position rankings. Last week we did the shooting guard rankings, which was very interesting, especially since there isn't a lot of all star caliber shooting guards out there. So it's interesting, ranking them and mentioning a bunch of random role players as well. And this week we kind of have the same situation, but I do think the small forward position is better than the shooting guard, right? Do you agree?
Yeah, I would say similar situation. It's not really like that star studded, but I would say a little bit better um, depth wise than the shooting guard position for sure.
Yeah. It's still not amazing. Like, for honorable mentions, we always do honorable mentions, and I like to stick with like five honorable mentions. This week I've got three. I've got only three notable ones that I want to talk about.
Um, yeah, I also have three as well, coincidentally.
Should we jump into it and talk about the honorable mentions then? You want to mention
Uh,
yours first?
yeah, we can do that. So, first honorable mention I put down was Danny Avdia. Um, I think that he has a very good case of potentially being on the list. Ultimately, there are just a few guys I put ahead of him. But to start, I think that Danny Avdia is a pretty good play. He's pretty good in the sense of the versatility that he has, rebounding, passing, and pretty decent shooter. Um, Ultimately, I think that there's definitely like well to start he's only played for bad teams in his career, obviously Wizards and the Blazers. So who knows? Maybe if he's on a good team, he could still be like a nice bench warmer guy, potentially. That may be cool to see one day. But I would say overall, I put him as an honorable mention. Could have put him on the list, but there were just a few guys I thought were a little bit more worthy. Um, Next guy, Herb Jones. I think he's another guy that for sure, once again, could have been on the list. Um, I barely had him missing it. Um, Last season, I think he missed some games due to injury, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Well, a lot of the Pelicans missed games due to injury. um, I will admit that sometimes I kind of mix Herb Jones and Trey Murphy a little bit because like play similar, they look kind of similar, they have a similar body build. It's funny. And turns out I was not wrong. He only played 20 games last season due to injury, so it's a very small sample size. We'll say though, whenever he is healthy, his impact is felt and very good on the floor. He's a decent shooter, um, pretty good at rebounding and assisting as well, I think. And he averages nearly 2 steals a game last season in his limited sample size. Um, I think that if he could be healthy and on the floor more often, then he could for sure be potentially back on the list. But ultimately, I had Herb Jones just barely missing a top 15 for small forwards. And the final honorable mention I have is Cam Johnson. So, Cam Johnson, I think that he for sure could have been on the list. Ultimately, there were just a few guys that I felt like a little bit more worthy. But I will say this about Cam Johnson, though. He's a pretty good floor spacer and pretty good. Like, his offense, he's able to shoot from the outside and he's able to go in. And similar to Mikal Bridges, he was definitely another key loss for the Suns when they traded for KD. Now he is finally on a good team again, going to the Nuggets, and we shall see how he fits in. I think he should fit in pretty good. Him and Michael Porter Jr. Directly replacing or swapping spots. So I think he'll fit in pretty good. So those will be my 3 honorable mentions. Danny Avdia, Herb Jones, and Cam Johnson.
All right. I'm very surprised about the Cam Thompson. Wait, Thompson or you said Johnson? You said Johnson.
Cam Johnson.
Cam Thompson's a shooting guard. Yeah, I'm surprised Cam Johnson didn't make your list. He nearly kind of almost made my top 10. Just because, I find that he is a great scorer. I'm sure his numbers will go down next year. Oh, I don't know exactly. I was thinking it would go down because, he's going to be on a better team. Maybe there's less touches, but he's going to be playing next to the best playmaker in the league, Nikola Jokic. So maybe he will get great touches and still average like 18. But yeah, another issue with him is like injuries too. But I was still able to fit him in. So yeah, I'm very curious about like the other small forwards you have above him because I thought he was a shoo-in. Herb Jones is a good shout because like I also have him as an honorable mention. It's because of the injuries last year. He played like 20 games? Yeah, 20 games. Very unfortunate for him. But when he is healthy, he is like the best perimeter defender in the league while being able to get you a few points. And, before the injuries, he looked like he had a ton of potential to get even better and better as a scorer. So, although he's not in the top 15 for this upcoming season on my list, uh, he definitely will be here next year, assuming that he's healthy. So, yeah, that's a great shout from you because he for sure deserves to be in the honorable mentions. I guess I could continue on talking about my honorable mentions. I mentioned Herb Jones. The other player I want to mention is Jaden McDaniels, who I was surprised he was kind of injured a bit last year too. I didn't. Or no, I'm wrong. It was the complete opposite. He played every single game last year. What was I thinking? He's a great role player. Decent defender. Averages 12.2 points, 5.7 rebounds per game, and 2 assists. I I wanted to put him on the list. He just couldn't make the cut because of the amount of talent in this position. I know I was talking about how, you know, it's not like the strongest position in the league, but it still has some depth, as you mentioned earlier in the recording. So, unfortunately, I don't have McDaniels in my top 15. I could see an argument for it, but he's right outside of my top 15, and I don't know why I thought he was injured. I'm probably confusing him with someone else, but he actually played every single game last year, which is very impressive. So, Herb Jones was an honorable mention for me, Jada McDaniels, and probably my most controversial honorable mention. I'm gonna wanna see your face because I don't know if you'll agree with me or not. Maybe you'll think I'm crazy for this, but yeah, I have Paul George as an honorable mention. I don't think he's a top 15 small forward anymore. Do you agree with me? Is he not even in your honorable mentions list? Like, he's that ass, or is he still top 15 in your eyes?
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't even mention him.
Ooh, he's that ass. He's that
Yeah,
washed.
and let me say this, okay? I think that if he was healthy, he could for sure be on either the list or at least an honorable mention. But like, honestly, I just didn't really put too much thought into him because of like how non-existent he was last year. And the fact that he tried to say that he put the podcast on pause when the Sixers season was practically already
That
over.
was
It's like, what are you
hilarious.
thinking? You should have done that earlier. Yeah, so that was hilarious. But yeah, I honestly like didn't even mention him to be honest.
Okay, so maybe it's not as hot of a take as I thought it was. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, big reason why he had a downer season is for sure because of the injuries. He missed half of the games last year, so that definitely had an a huge impact, probably the biggest impact on why he was asked. And part of the reason is probably because he joined the Sixers, a totally new organization. Um, so he's just trying to fit in. But yeah, when he was playing, he was not impressive at all. He averages 6 less points than he did when he was a Clipper a year ago. Um, and yeah, now that he's getting older and getting more and more injured, I really don't see him, bouncing back. Maybe he can. Maybe he could come through and be a decent third option for the team. But I really don't see uh, Paul George being like Clippers Paul George anymore. But yeah, so he is in my honorable mentions list. Should we talk about the top 15? Should we dive into it?
I say we shall do just that.
All right, then we will reveal by chunks as always. We're going to start with the 15 through 11 chunk of the list. And yeah, we're going to reveal it to each other for the first time Raw reaction. Ooh, okay. Okay. There's a Okay, it's not bad. Not bad, honestly.
Yeah. Our list has like a few similarities and probably a few differences. Um, but yeah, I can go ahead and reveal my list first. So number 15, I have DeAndre Hunter. 14, Trey Murphy the third. 13, Jaden McDaniels. 12, Michael Porter Jr. 11, Brandon Ingram.
And for me, at number 15, I have Aaron Neesmith. 14, Mikal Bridges. 13, Amon Thompson. 12, Cam Johnson. And 11, Trey Murphy the third. Now, I do believe last week you had Amon Thompson as a shooting guard, right?
Yeah, so
Uh,
that was the reason why I didn't have him here. Otherwise, he would for sure be on this list.
yeah, and then someone I didn't think about. Oh, I guess there's two people I didn't really think about adding to the list. That's on your list is DeAndre Hunter and Michael Porter Jr. For DeAndre Hunter, I'll be honest, just totally forgot about him. I don't know if I would have added him to the list. I like the 15 I have, but that's definitely a shout out. That's definitely an honorable mention. And Michael Porter Jr. is also interesting for me. I don't think I would have him in my top 15. I could kind of see an argument, but he's also very polarizing. He's not the most consistent guy unless he's playing the Lakers in the playoffs.
I know.
So, yeah, I don't know how to feel about that one, but maybe you'll win me over. Maybe you'll uh change my mind. Would you like to argue for your list?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and do that. I'll start by saying, as far as your list, obviously I already mentioned how Cam Johnson is an honorable mention, and then obviously Amon I had on the list last week. Um, Aaron Neesmith is a guy that I definitely highly considered putting on the list. Ultimately, he just barely missed the cut for me, only because like I mean, I know we mentioned that it's not really like that stacked of the position, but there's still a good amount of like sneaky names that ultimately like I had to decide like do I put this guy or do I put this guy at the end? And then ultimately like, he just barely missed the cut for me. But what he did for the Pacers playoff run was definitely a something special. So I'm not mad at you for having him on your list.
Yeah, I
But
definitely get that for sure. Like I almost like cut him because like it was hard to debate whether I should have Paul George or Jaden McDaniels. Those were like the two main names I was thinking of instead of Neesmith. But as you mentioned, that playoff run that he had this year, helping the Pacers make the finals, the legendary game he had in Game One against the Knicks is it was an incredible moment. Um, yeah, those are the reasons why I ended up having him on my list. But yeah, you could continue on.
yeah. Okay, so starting with DeAndre Hunter. Um so I put him on this list because obviously he started off his career a little bit slow and then ultimately he was able to kind of get his footing a little bit. And then this season traded midway into the season at the trade deadline from the Hawks to the Cavs and turned out to be a pretty good six-man row. He finished fourth in six-man years voting. And what I like about him is his ability to pretty much do it all on offense, mid-range threes, shot threes at 40% and 47% field goals, average 17 points off the bench. A nice 3 and D for sure. Um, this is why I put DeAndre Hunter on my list. Uh, Next player, Trey Murphy the third. So Trey Murphy, I already mentioned how I think him and Herb Jones are like very similar. I just think that Trey Murphy is a practically like a better version of Herb Jones if you think about it. Um, and that being said, like he just is able to do a little bit more. Last season, he wasn't so he missed a good amount of games, but he still was able to play at least more than half of the season, playing 53 games last year due to a shoulder injury. Um, but when he was available, he was looking just as good as he was previous seasons. He averaged 21 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, shooting 45% from the field and 36% from three. Um, he definitely looked like a very good player for sure. It's unfortunate that he wasn't really noticed because the Pelicans were just not a good team last year due to injury. Um, but if he can stay healthy, the team can stay healthy. I could definitely see him potentially maybe making the next jump, and who knows? Um, Maybe he'll keep surprising people, and we'll see. I mean, if Pelicans decide they want to go in the rebuild position, I'm sure a lot of contenders will try to go after him for sure. So Trey Murphy definitely had to be on the list for me. Um, Next guy, Jaden McDaniels. So I think that Jaden McDaniels is a pretty good. He played a pretty good role to the Timberwolves, especially the last 2 seasons, getting to the Western Conference 2 years straight. Um, Nice two-way. Um, he is able to now. We'll say this: he's not necessarily like the greatest known for to be shooter per se, but he gets the job done, and he's able to still provide a pretty good scoring burst. Average 12 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 assists. And I will say that him, he in the playoffs, was definitely seemingly like went off shooting from the field. I mean, like 42% from three, and yeah, key player for a good team. Uh, Next guy, Michael Porter Jr. So the thing about Michael Porter Jr. is obviously he is like really inconsistent, but I will say that the role that he was able to play for the Nuggets, more so during like the championship season, was definitely um, a key contribution. And I would say, like, due to the fact that he was able to knock down threes and also able to, because of the threes mostly, score some good points for the team. And then he's also able to rebound. And now that he is in Brooklyn, we'll see how that fit goes. I mean, he's on a worse team. He could potentially get more opportunities, or maybe it he just doesn't necessarily go as good. But yeah, overall, I would say Michael Porter Jr. Due to his shooting and rebounding abilities, was to be on the list for me. And then number 11, Brandon Ingram. So if it was like 2, 3, 4 years ago, he would easily be higher, I think. Due to injuries, I think that he take a slight step back, though still very good. Um, Obviously, last year traded mid-season from the Pelicans to the Raptors, and he still hasn't played for the Raptors yet due to injury. We'll see how that fit will work. I mean, him and RJ Barrett, um, they play the same position, but have pretty different games. So we'll see how that fits in. But Brandon Ingram, obviously, he's a pretty good mid-range shooter. His three-point shooting gets the job done, and he's also a pretty good rebounder. And so last season, even though he missed a lot of games due to injury, he still put up some relatively decent numbers: 22 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, and 47% from the field, 37 from three. If he's able to stay healthy, maybe he'll go back to his own form. But for now, I would say 11 would be a good spot for Ingram. So that would be my list from 15 through 11.
Yeah, I already discussed like the differences, right, with DeAndre Hunter and Michael Porter Jr. So I don't really have to go over that again. And then for the other players, I have Brandon Ingram coming up real soon, so you putting him at 11 to me makes a lot of sense. Um, I have Trey Murphy in this tier, and Jada McDaniels was an honorable mention for me. So, it's very valid so far. Let's see if that continues. But yeah, I guess I can go over my list, starting with Aaron Neesmith, which, I already, gave a little spiel on why he deserves to be on the list because of the legendary run that he had in this year's playoffs, and was able to trade, what was it, like 4 or 5 threes in the fourth quarter in order to save the Pacers from losing game one. Obviously, Tyrese Halliburton made the game tying shot that was very legendary. Did the choking thing in Madison Square Garden. Very legendary stuff there. But, that wouldn't have happened if Aaron Neesmith didn't go off and started trading like every single three in the last like 5 minutes of the game. So yeah, I thought he deserved this. He's a great 3-and-D player. He gets into foul trouble here and there, which isn't the best, but he is a perimeter player, so it kind of makes sense. At least he gives effort on both ends of the floor, and yeah, phenomenal season from him. So I ended up having him on the list. I think he was the one I got confused with, Jaden McDaniels. Yeah, well, he only played 45 games in the regular season, which surprised me. But, he was there for the playoffs, and he came through big time. Big time for sure. Next, I have Mikal Bridges, who, honestly, before looking at his stats, I thought he, fell off, big time, compared to his, Brooklyn stats, because, he played for Brooklyn. His stats were going to be super inflated, and then going to New York, where there's a lot of other great players that needs the ball, I thought his stats would diminish a lot, but it actually didn't go down that bad. He only averages 2 less points, and that's while being teammates with Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns. OG averages a good amount of points as well. I believe he averages 20 points, something like that. Kind of a, well, the Knicks were one of the best offenses in the league, so I guess that makes sense. But still surprising that Mikal Bridges averages 17.6 points last year. For sure, his defense, took a toll. Maybe not so much the offense, but the defense for sure isn't as great as it was when he was a Phoenix Sun and helped the Suns go to the finals a few years ago. But he does have his moments against the Celtics, right? He had 2 crazy, I believe there were blocks on game winning situations or game tying situations. If it wasn't for that, they wouldn't have won the first 2 games against the Celtics and wouldn't have, basically destroy them in that series. So Mikal Bridges has his moments, some good moments, some bad moments, but he's still good enough to make the list in my opinion. So Mikal Bridges is here. Amen Thompson has so much potential. Oh my god, this man is already one of the best defenders in the league, and this is only his 2nd year in the league. He averages 14.1 points per game, and this is without having a reliable jump shot. So imagine if he, took the time this summer to practice threes. If he's able to get a 3-point shot, he'll easily be a 20-point per game scorer and be one of the best defenders in the league, which is gonna be scary, since the Rockets are already gonna be a scary team next season with Kevin Durant. But yeah, he averaged 14 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists. Super athletic. The man has hops, crazy hops. Um, yeah, nothing but like praise for this guy. The only thing he needs to work on is, you know, being able to shoot. But once he's able to shoot, the league should be scared. He definitely has potential for being an all-star one day. All right, then I have Cam Johnson. I want to double check. Okay, it's funny. Cam Johnson and Michael Porter Jr. got traded for each other, and in our list, they are in the exact same position. So that's kind of funny, kind of a cute little coincidence. But yeah, Cam Johnson averaged 18.8 points per game, which kind of surprised me, but I shouldn't be surprised as who else is going to score for that team. I believe Cam Thomas was injured quite a bit too last year, so makes sense that he averaged almost 20 points per game last year. I'm sure the numbers are going to go down, but as I said earlier, he's going to be with Jokic, so maybe he's going to be having a career year next year. We'll see. But yeah, he's a pretty good 3-and-D player, especially on the 3-point end. He's been pretty consistent on that end. Last year he averaged 39% from 3, which is really, really good. Almost 40. That's impressive. Pretty athletic as well. Talented guy. Had to be on the list. And then right outside of the top 10, I was really considering putting him higher, but I ended up putting him at 11. Trey Murphy the third. Average crazy amount of points last year: 21.2 points per game, 5.1 rebounds per game, 3.5 assists per game. He improved his points per game average by 7 points, basically, which is impressive, but like something to keep in mind. Like every Pelican was injured, including him. He missed like 30 games last year, so someone had to score, and I guess it was Trey Murphy the third, and he definitely took advantage of the moment for sure, which is good. I just don't know if this is gonna be something that we could count on him for moving forward. Like once Zion is back, once DeJounte Murray actually plays for the team, will Trey Murphy the third still average 20 points? And I do find it interesting how you said Trey Murphy the third is the better version of Herb Jones. I always thought it was the opposite. Herb Jones is better than Trey Murphy the third. I guess we'll find out next season, because I'm sure this is going to be an interesting problem for the Pelicans. Who are they going to, want on the floor more? Trey Murphy the third or Herb Jones? One is definitely better offensively, the other one better defensively, but both can do the other part pretty well. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens there. I guess that's a good problem to have. But yeah, Trey Murphy would be inside the top 10 if he did this for like another season. If he averaged 20 once again while playing great defense, he would definitely be a top 10 small forward in the league for sure. But right now he's right outside of the top 10. So any thoughts on what I just said?
I would say for the most part, a lot of the points you made were definitely pretty reasonable. Pretty good set of players. Um, a few of these guys were barely miss off the cut for me, and then another guy I listed in the last video. So I would say all of these players definitely worthy.
All right, sounds good. So it doesn't seem like we have more to talk about here. I guess this is a good time to jump into the next chunk, the next ranking. So this will be, we're jumping into our top 10. 10 through 6 is what we're gonna talk about. And then yeah, let's reveal that to each other. And okay. So I'll go mention one thing right out of the gate. You have Jalen Johnson on your list. I consider him a power forward, so I'm not talking about him this week. I'll talk about him next week. But other than that, the other players that you have on your list, um, yeah, I have them on my list as well. So, would you like to? Actually, no. Norman Powell. I put him in my shooting guards list last week. So, I guess three of the players on your list is on my list. Well, the other two I don't have because of positioning. But would you like
Yeah.
to go over your list?
Yeah, and once again, the positioning making things extra confusing.
Always.
um, yeah. Okay. Number 10, I have Norman Powell. Number 9, Jalen Johnson. Number 8, DeMar DeRozan. Number 7, Mikal Bridges. And number 6, Jimmy Butler.
And for me, at number 10, Brandon Ingram. Number 9, OG Anunoby. I always mess up on that. Number 8, DeMar DeRozan. 7, Jimmy Butler. 6, Franz Wagner. Now thinking about it, OG is definitely not a top 5 small forward. So do you consider him a power forward?
Um, I don't know what I consider him as.
It's a positionless league at this point. like,
Yeah.
uh,
Honestly, like the thing is, like, I always consider him as a small forward, but like after they got Mikal, I feel like he's kind of been playing more at the small forward. And didn't OG kind of get pushed to power forward, or I don't even know, honestly.
yeah, that is the case. But like,
Yeah,
you're right about that. But it does get confusing. Like the Celtics, right? We all know that Jason Tatum's a small forward, but because
yeah,
of the like 2 point guard lineup, Jason Tatum started as a power forward for like the
yeah,
last 2 seasons. Even though I still consider him a small forward. So basically, just go with your heart, man. Just go
yeah,
with what you believe in. If OG's a
yeah,
power forward, he's a power forward.
yeah. Yeah, so that probably would be the reason why I don't have him here, but yeah, I guess I can start by mentioning the players that I put in. So Norman Powell, obviously he had a pretty good breakout season last year, and we both mentioned that we personally think he should have been an all-star last year. Probably, I mean, at least it would have been cool seeing him as an all-star over Harden, for example, the wrong Clipper being an all-star, even though Harden did have a good season, so I'll give him that. Um, but yeah, he averaged 22 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 48% from the field, and 42% from three. And this was easily his best season of his career. Um, maybe you want to, maybe a little bit shocking. The Clippers traded him after that. Um, I mean, I guess that their intent was to try to find like bigger fish to fry. I don't know, long term or what, but I guess they did what they did, and now he is on the Heat, a team that is, I guess, like kind of okay. Like they're not horrible. They were still good enough to make the playoffs last year. We'll see how they do this year. Um, but yeah, obviously Norm, he's pretty good at 3 point shooting. He's able to attack the rim as well, and doing so with pretty good efficiency. And we shall see how he fits in with the Heat. I think definitely will be a good veteran presence for that team. Um, Next player on my list, Jalen Johnson. So there's definitely a little bit of a uncertainty of what position he is because like he's able to clearly do both. Um, Last season, he started off the season really strong, averaged 19 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, shooting 50% from the field and 31 from three. Um, and he was having a pretty good season for the Hawks, but unfortunately, he ended up getting injured and his season was cut very short. Um, he only played 36 games, matter of fact, less than half the season. And even the season prior, he played 56 only, which is like not horrible, but still due to injury was not able to play the full length. Um, but either way, though, he's a really young player, 23 years old, and he should be able to continue to keep doing big things in Atlanta with Trey. So um, I definitely am a fan of Jalen Johnson for sure. Next player on the list, DeMar DeRozan. So obviously DeMar DeRozan um, has slightly declined a little bit recently, but he's still a really good player. Now last season playing for the Kings, he was still able to put up decent numbers, 22 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and nearly a steal average a game. And yeah, he was able to do that for a not very good team. He also obviously re-teamed up with Zach LaVine in Sacramento, and it was practically no different than Chicago. Just um, mediocre, middle of the pack, missed the playoffs again. Um, but that is clearly not on him though, because he practically did his best. The team just wasn't that good. Um, I think that at this stage, DeMar is like, if you can put him on a contender, he could be a sneaky good piece for that team. If you put him on a mediocre team, he'll probably mostly just be there for doing his job, putting up numbers. The team just not good enough and probably be losing. But him as an individual, definitely worthy of still being on this list. Um, Next player, Mikal Bridges. So Mikal Bridges obviously traded to the Knicks last season and played a pretty good role. I mean, averaged nearly 18 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, and 50% from the field, 35 from three. Um, and him and OG honestly like are pretty similar skill set wise and playing for the same team. And so then came the tricky situation of like who slides to what position because like they were both gonna start for sure. So like one would have to like switch to a different position and I guess it ended up being OG, but Mikal was able to do his part. Nice scoring boost for the team. Pretty good mid-range shooter and a pretty good three-point shooter too. Obviously, he had that pretty cool game winner in Portland last year. That was fun to see. Um, but yeah, I would say. But the main important thing about Mikal is he's a really great defender, and when the Suns traded him, huge loss, huge presence was lost on the defensive end and really overall. So yeah, Mikal Bridges definitely had to be somewhere on this list. You could argue higher or you could argue lower, but he had to be on this list. Um, and the last player on this set at number 6, Jimmy Butler. So Jimmy, he like I would say like he definitely took a step back last season. Still a very good player. We just didn't get to see the playoff Jimmy we usually get to see. Um, Averaged nearly 18 points a game, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 50% from the field, and 31% from three. Um, Now, when Steph went down in the playoffs, we were thinking, is this going to be vintage playoff Jimmy back to take over? Unfortunately, it just wasn't the case. He did not seemingly have the same killer mentality as he did with the Heat. It almost seemed like now I have Steph on my team, I don't have to go as hard. But that being said, we all know what he is capable of when he is at his peak. So that being for that reason, he certainly had to be on this list for sure. So that would be my list from 10 through 6.
All right, all right. Let's see. Yeah, I guess I do find it like a little weird having Mikal Bridges this high because he's over DeMar, he's over Brandon Ingram, Norman Powell, Jalen Johnson. These are all like low tier all star caliber players, and I feel like Mikel's not there. Or maybe I don't know. But yeah, yeah. I guess we do have quite a bit of a gap between those two players. I have him at 14. You have him at 7. So they're 7 apart. It's That's a big gap. Is that the biggest gap we've had so far? You think?
Like in the series?
In like this year's series, yeah.
Oh, it might be honestly. I haven't really been tracking, but
Yeah,
probably
I
for
haven't been checking
example
either.
could
I
be.
guess you like his defense more than I do. I feel like,
That's
uh,
probably what it is. Yeah.
yeah, I don't think he's playing as great at D since leaving the Suns. Um, but I guess that's just me. You value it a bit more, and he is a lengthy guy, so for sure when he gets those blocks, steals, cool defensive highlight moments, they're awesome. But I feel like it just it doesn't happen as often as it was in Phoenix when he was just a 3 and D guy. All right, that was kind of his job, just to focus on shooting threes and defending. Um, Now he has a bit of a bigger role, but yeah, would like to see the defense a little better. But that's just me, I guess. Yeah, I guess we could move on to my list because I don't really have anything else to say about yours. So I will start off with Brandon Ingram. This was, a difficult one to, you know, rank. I was the 3 players I was like very confused on where to like rank them was Trey Murphy the third, Brandon Ingram, and OG Anunoby, because like Ingram on paper is the better player out of those 3, but he doesn't play. He gets injured. He didn't play a lot last year. He got traded to the Raptors and never suited up for them. So, uh, I ended up putting OG over Brandon Ingram because OG, doesn't average that much less points per game than Ingram. Um, but he does it while, staying on the court, while playing for a contending team, and while also playing great defense. So that's why OG's over Brandon Ingram. But the reason why I have Brandon Ingram over Trey Murphy is that I don't know if Trey Murphy's um, 20 points per game last year was a fluke or not. So I have him under Ingram. So Ingram could be higher if he wasn't injured last year, but he was. So it was definitely very hard to rank him. Is what I'm ultimately getting at. Um, but yeah, Ingram, a very good offensive player. 22.2 points per game for him. Um, Only played 18 games, but those 18 games were solid, I guess. But he is a pretty injury prone player, so yeah, it's hard to rely on Ingram, but he was able to make my top 10. Number 9, OG, as I just mentioned, you know, I have him over Ingram because he doesn't average that much less points per game. He averages 18 points per game, averages 4.8 rebounds, 2.2 assists, but what he is extremely reliable or extremely important. I don't think I said that correctly. What I find very impressive from him is his defensive ability. The way that you enjoy Mikal Bridges' defense is the way I feel about OG. I think OG is the better player of the two, not only offensively but defensively as well. That's why he is over Mikal Bridges in my opinion, but definitely over Brandon Ingram, who can't stay on the floor and is not nearly as good at defense as OG. And yeah, OG's still a pretty good 3-point shooter as well, 37.2%. Played a lot of games, 74 last year. Definitely deserves to be on the list. I was even debating him over DeMar DeRozan, but I'm not there yet. I don't think I can admit that yet. Even though he is, not the same as prime DeMar DeRozan, but he's still a 20-point per game guy, 22.2 to be specific. Averages 3.9 rebounds, 4.4 assists per game. Still one of the best mid-range players in the league. And, although you don't really think about him as like one of the best players in the league anymore, he's still like one of the best scorers for sure. I saw this like clip on TikTok about Amin Thompson being interviewed, and he was talking about his like welcome to the NBA moment, and it was when during his rookie year he had to pay Fred VanVleet $100 every time he fell for a DeMar DeRozan pump fake, and he ended up having to owe him a lot of money because he kept falling for that pump fake. So hearing Amin Thompson talk about like DeMar DeRozan in that way and talk about how like talented he is as a player, especially since DeMar is this like he's very old, he's not in his prime anymore, but still has a lot of respect from players, especially from younger players, does prove to me that he is still one of the most talented players in the league, even though maybe his play style doesn't really lead to winning, or he can't really do much except for score. But yeah, still very talented mid-range scorer. Had to give him a shout out. Then I have Jimmy Butler. We all know my relationship or my thoughts on Jimmy Butler. Not the biggest fan, but he's still a good player. He did revitalize the Warriors last year, whether it was because of the game or because of his game, or because the Warriors were finally happy that they have another All-Star that they decided to lock in. Either way, he did have an impact on the Warriors last year, helping them make the playoffs. Now, did they have a crazy run in the playoffs? No, they did, get past the first round. That's good. That's great. But, when Curry got injured and it was time for playoff Jimmy to come through and save the day, he did not come through. Like I've been saying it for years, the playoff Jimmy thing it feels more like a fluke than anything else. Even though he did make 2 finals, still I don't really believe in playoff Jimmy like others do. But I felt like my opinion was validated last year, or not last year, but this past season, because he had some duds for sure. And he is getting older. He gets injured quite a bit, so I don't know why I have it this high. Honestly, his 3-point percentage isn't that good, 30%. no longer a 20-point per game scorer. He's great at drawing contact and getting to the line. That's important, especially for the Warriors. But yeah, I don't know why I have him this high. He's not even like as great of a defender as he once was. So I don't know what I was thinking. I kind of convinced myself to put him lower, but whatever. He's at 7. I gotta commit. He's at 7 for me. And at 6, it is Franz Wagner. I really wanted to put him in the top 5, but the number 5 guy does deserve it more than him. But yeah, Franz keeps improving his game. He averaged 24.2 points per game, 5.7 rebounds per game, 4.7 assists per game. Could have been an all-star, but he did get injured, which was very unfortunate. But I'm sure he'll make his first all-star team next year. I'm a guarantee it, as Chuck says it. The main thing he definitely needs to work on is his three-point shooting. It's not the best. He was a better three-point shooter during his rookie and sophomore season than he is now, which is very surprising. You'd think that would improve, but that's not the case. Either way, still a great offensive player. Definitely did grow in many aspects of his game this past season, and I'm sure he's going to continue improving and hopefully learn how to make a three. But yeah, that is my list. Any thoughts?
I would say for the most part, these players you listed were all very worthy and deserving for sure. I will say that the Jimmy Butler part was pretty funny because you were mentioning how you're mentioning a lot of negative things, and then you said, honestly, I don't know why I put him this high. That was funny. Um, Aside from that, I think everything else made sense. Franz, I also have pretty high up. Matter of fact, spoiler alert, he's in the top 5. Um, but I know we'll talk more about that later. But for the most part, I think your list is good.
Yeah, and knowing that you have Franz in the top 5 makes a lot of sense to me because the guy that I have in my top 5, you mentioned him last week, so it it makes sense. It definitely makes sense. But should we reveal our top 5? Should we do that right now?
Yeah, I think we do that for sure.
All right, let's do that. I'm sure our top 5 is gonna be very similar, but let's see if that's the case. I did do something that I'm not really happy about, but I felt I feel like I had to do it.
Let's see what it is.
Okay. Okay. Oh, okay. You know what? Okay, our lists are actually kind of like pretty different, but it's not
Yeah,
because of the reasons why it's different. It's once again because of positioning. Uh,
positioning. Yeah.
so, would you like to read off your list? I'll read off my list, and then we'll go over the positioning problem.
Yeah. Number 5, I got Kawhi Leonard. Number 4, Scotty Barnes. Number 3, Franz Wagner. Number 2, Kevin Durant. And at number 1, LeBron James.
And for me, I got at number 5, Jalen Williams. Number 4, Kawhi Leonard. Number 3, Kevin Durant. Number 2, LeBron James. And number 1, Jayson Tatum. So, there's a lot that we need to go over so everybody's not confused. Okay. For me, the biggest thing of note is that Jayson Tatum is not on your list, which like I did mention earlier in the recording how like he does play power forward, but like to me it was clear that he is a small forward that just so happens to start as a power forward, if that makes any sense. But I guess I'm assuming since he does technically start as a power forward, that's why he's not here, right?
So I'm gonna be honest. The reason why I don't have him is because he's not gonna play this season.
Oh, I forgot did yeah, okay, no, that checks out, because you did this in the point guards list. If
With
you guys
Halliburton, yeah,
didn't see, yeah, you didn't have Halliburton on the list, you didn't have Damian Lillard on the list. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, I thought
yeah,
you thought
because
he was a power forward.
no,
um
I would have listed him as a small forward, and he probably would have been one or at least two. But yeah, due to him not playing this year, I just didn't include him because I feel like it low key is like an empty spot if he's not even gonna play at all. Like if we're talking about if healthy, easily, but yeah, I just wanted to the way I prefer to do it was if he's not playing, I don't put him on the list.
okay,
But yeah,
yeah, I should have
that's
known.
the reason.
That's how you did it during the point guards list. uh but if you guys watched that, you would have known that I would have kept Jayson Tatum, because I did it by, if they were all healthy, who would be the best player in that position. So that's why Tatum's on my list and Tatum's not on your list. Uh, you have Scotty Barnes on this list. I think last year I had him as a small forward, but this year I decided to throw him as a power forward. Mostly because, like, the more I watch him, like, he's for sure like a point forward. Like, let's uh be honest. Like, he handles the ball quite a bit for his position. But, like, I don't know. I see him less as a small forward and more as a power forward. Maybe because of his lack of shooting. That kind of just makes me think of more of a power forward type of feature, I guess, for the lack of better words. So that's why Scotty Barnes is not on my list. Because I'm gonna consider him a power forward unless told otherwise. And then also, I have Jalen Williams, who is not on your list, but you talked about him last week, right?
Yeah. Um, yeah, I ended up listing him as a shooting guard, even though he probably is a small forward.
Dude, Jalen Williams is whatever he wants to be.
Yeah,
He started as
he's
a center last year when Chet and Hartenstein were both injured, and he was actually doing a good job defending the centers. I think that's why he made second team all defense. So yeah, he could do it all, I guess. But yeah, I guess now that we went over the logistics, now that we went over why our list ended up being so different and why we do have or do not have certain players, would you like to explain your top five?
yeah. So starting at number five, Kawhi Leonard. So the reason why I put Kawhi on this list, well, obviously we know like he is when healthy, still really good, one of the top players in the league. Um, Last season he was able to average 22.6 rebounds, 3 assists, shot 50% from the field, 41 from three. The only issue was due to injury, he only played 37 games, and that is less than half the season. Though when he was playing, he was really good. So definitely credit him there. Um, he is not the same defender as he once was in his prime, but he's still a really damn good one. So there's that. And then he's still pretty good at shooting the mid range and the three. And
He's pretty good at
I
committing
think,
fraud.
yeah, that too. That was very, to say the least, very shocking to hear that
Extremely
nickname.
shocking. You wouldn't think that Kawhi Leonard rolled like that, but I guess he
Yeah,
does. Him and his uncle doing shady stuff with the
yeah,
Clippers.
very shady. So now we got to see how the NBA goes with the punishment. It better honestly. The thing is, like, if Ballmer were to get fined, that's hardly even a punishment for him because he's like a billionaire. I think the real punishment would be if Clippers lose like hella draft picks. So we'll see what happens there. Um,
And as a punishment for Kawhi, he has to play 82 games.
that would be hilarious. By the time playoff time comes, he's gonna be so worn out. He's gonna like imagine he then load manages in the playoffs. Okay,
He's gonna
that
end
would
up
make
like
no sense.
that one fish from SpongeBob with like the cast all over, with this like skin made out of paper, bones made out of glass.
Yeah, that would be too funny. Like all that shit they like to talk about AD being street close. That might end up being Kawhi.
That's
Yeah.
basically cool. As much as like like really enjoy watching Kawhi play, and he was one of my favorite small forwards in the league for the longest time. This news didn't like change a little bit of like my perspective on him. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, definitely. Really trying to have all those um side under the table stuff impact his decision. Um anyways, obviously back to the topic. Talking about Kawhi as a player, definitely still very talented, easily top 5. The only reason why I don't have him higher is because of him being injury prone. Um Number 4, Scotty Barnes. So as you mentioned, positioning is a little bit tricky. I have always considered Scotty as more of a small forward though, and we'll say the one thing about him is he's pretty good on defense and he's a decent scorer as well. Average 19 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, shot 45% from the field. However, his 3-point shooting is just not very good, and he has very much room to improve on. Last season, he only shot 27% from 3, not good. Um, but if he can like practice his threes, the sky is the limit for him. And the thing is, I think that like because he's already really good, if he could get the 3-point shooting to like mid 30s range, then he's pretty much set in my opinion. But yeah, I would say the main flaw with him is his poor 3-point shooting. Aside from that, he's pretty damn good and has could just have opportunities to get better. So Scotty Barnes, number 4. Number 3, Franz Wagner. Um, so obviously last 2 seasons ago, he did not do very good in the playoffs in 2024 when the Magic got bounced by the Cavs in the first round, including that game 7 when he like shot very piss poor. But last season, he bounced back very great. Um, Averaged 24 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, shot 46% from the field. Once like Scotty though, his 3-point shooting has plenty of room for improvement. He only shot 30% from the 3 last season. Um, and it seemed okay, it looked like even last season, previous season, he also wasn't very good at 3. Like I think it was like 29% within the last 2 seasons. So similar to Scotty, if he can improve his 3-point shooting, then he'll only be even better than he already is. So hopefully both of those guys get in the gym and try to master the craft there. But overall, both of them very good, young, up and coming, and from the same draft class, Scotty Barnes and Franz Wagner, both from 2021 draft class, and for years to come, gonna be the face of the league. I think. Well, maybe that's not the right way to say it, but like gonna be great players in the league. Yeah, face of the league. We're thinking like the superstars who are gonna be the most well known. So yeah, wrong terminology. But anyways, Franz definitely worthy of being this high. Number 2, Kevin Durant. So obviously, KD is now one of the older guys in the league, and he has a little bit of injury problems, but when he is healthy, still really damn good. He's still averaging 27.6 rebounds, 4 assists, shooting 53% from the field and 43% from three. Um, Last season, he was not bad. The Suns were just a bad team. And this season, obviously now he got traded to the Rockets. Now he's on a real contender, and we'll see how he fits in with the Rockets. Teaming up now with Van Vliet, Thompson, and Şengün, it should definitely be interesting. So we'll see how he fares there. But yeah, KD, even though he's getting older and has some injury problems, still easily a top 3 small forward in the league. And at number 1, I got LeBron James. Even at 40 years old, about to be 41 years old, with Jayson Tatum out, obviously, the number 1 point guard that's playing this season.
Small forward.
Because Tatum is not going to be playing. That's what I mean. But yeah, LeBron, as the saying always goes, like, father time is just not seeming to get to him. And this is probably the longest prime in basketball, arguably sports. But yeah, he averaged 24 points last season, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, 51% from the field, and 38% from threes. Not too bad. So now, obviously, LeBron, not really much that needs to be said. I mean, number 1 scoring all time, and caught on to pass Kareem and just keep on continuously building. GOAT debate stuff would be for another topic, so I'm not even going to go into all that. But point blank is this guy is not really showing much decline, and this is why I easily have him in number 1 small forwards, due to Tatum being out.
All right, very fair. A small part of me is surprised you have Franz Wagner over Kawhi Leonard, but it's mostly the injury thing for you that makes Franz go over him. Okay, that's valid.
I had like a back and forth whether I do want to put him higher or not. Ultimately, I just went with my gut.
Yeah, I feel like Kawhi's for sure the more talented, better player, but it is for sure the injuries, right? There's rumors that like apparently like he didn't get paid soon enough from like the fake tree company, so he like pretended to be injured and did not play until he got paid, allegedly, right? But yeah, very interesting stuff. That's for sure. Yeah, other than that, I don't have much to say. I guess the list makes sense with your logic. It makes sense for sure. Okay, yeah. I'm ready to go over my top 5 then. Starting at number 5, I have Jalen Williams. Franz Wagner maybe is the better player. I don't know. I feel like Jalen Williams is more well-rounded. Last year, let's see, he averaged 21.6 points per game, 5.3 rebounds per game, 5.1 assists per game, and was a hell of a defender. As I mentioned earlier, he was defending centers when Chet and Isaiah Hartenstein were injured. He was the center. It was doing a damn good job at it, defending the much bigger centers in the league. This guy is 6'5", defending 7-footers, and giving it his all. So not only is he more well-rounded in my opinion than Franz, but obviously he had a great playoffs, a great finals run, ended up being an NBA champion, so he gets a champion boost as well. So that's why he's at 5. At 4, I have Kawhi Leonard. He gets injured so often, and with all this like stuff going on with the fake tree company and the potential fraud, it makes me like wonder like if he still even wants to play basketball, still cares about winning games, or is he just there for the money, So I don't really see him bouncing back at all and becoming prime Kawhi Leonard. I think prime Kawhi Leonard is in the past now, and uh, yeah, he's most likely just gonna be lower and lower down the list as the years move on. But he's still a great player, and during the playoffs this year, although they got bounced in the first round, he was great. He had a 40 bomb in the playoffs, was able to win the Clippers some games, but yeah, he's very, very unreliable in many aspects, so I can't justify putting him any higher, even though his talent is incredible when he wants to play. But yeah, I don't see him wanting to win more games anytime soon. So I could see him dropping out of the top 5 by next year, especially if Jalen Williams and Franz Wagner keeps improving. But okay, at number 3, I have Kevin Durant. I actually thought about putting him over LeBron, but LeBron is just more well-rounded of a player. So I ended up putting him over Kevin Durant. But still, Durant is still one of the best scorers in the league. And is he going into it's not his 20th season, no. But he's getting close. He's getting close to 20 seasons in the league. He's one of the oldest players in the league for sure, and still the best scorer in the league. It's incredible, and his defense is actually not too bad. Low key, he's been improving on defense in his later years. Decent shot blocker. Yeah, so shout out to Durant. Definitely was considering him to be higher, but I have to put LeBron higher. Not because he's a Laker, but because he is more well-rounded for sure. 24.4 points per game, 7.8 rebounds per game, 8.2 assists per game. And if he wants to, he could play decent defense, but that's if he wants to, That he has had so many games where he just pisses me off because he just does not want to play. He just doesn't care anymore because they'd be losing or whatever, and he just gives up in the middle of a game, middle of a possession. It's very annoying seeing his lack of effort at times. But yeah, I do think he's a very well-rounded player. I think it's very impressive that he's still this good for this long. That's for sure incredible. But, I could not put him at number 1 any longer. I had him number 1 last year, but I had to do it. I didn't want to do it, but I had to do it. Jayson Tatum is the best small forward in the league, and now I feel like throwing up. Oh my god, I can't believe that came out of my mouth. Yeah, I gotta admit it. 26.8 points per game for him, 8.7 rebounds, 6.0 assists per game. He is very well-rounded as a player. He can score on basically anywhere on the court. He's a decent shooter, got a great mid-range game, got a great post-up game for his position. He could slash if he wants to, but he tends to forget that he is a tall big dude. It'd be better if he slashes more instead of shooting from 3, but it is what it is, I guess. A great defender. He is a great defender. For sure better than LeBron, better than Durant, better than Kawhi. Probably J-Dub is better at defense than Tatum, but still, he's up there with defense. Very efficient scorer. Unfortunately, he did have a major injury last year in the playoffs. We're not going to be seeing him, so that's why Hoops doesn't have him on the list. But I'm still putting him on the list because if he was healthy, he definitely would be the best small forward in the league, as much as I don't want to admit it. But yeah, that is my top 5. Any thoughts on that before we close off this episode?
Honestly, for the most part, I think that the top 5 is pretty reasonable. Obviously, I put J-Dub in the shooting guards list last week, so that's the only reason why I'm different here. And obviously, Tatum, the reason why I don't have him is because he's not playing this year, and I only put the players that are actually going to be playing. So overall, if we're talking about like player rankings wise, based on the criterion that you went on, I would say pretty logical top 5 for sure.
All right, cool. So I guess that's it. We'll do a quick recap before we end things off. So we'll start with you, Hoops, as always. Hoops, who are who are the top 15 players? Fuck. Okay. I kept messing up. Oh my god. Okay. Hoops, who are the top 15 small forwards going into this season?
Okay, at number 15, I got DeAndre Hunter. Number 14, Trey Murphy III. Number 13, Jaden McDaniels. Number 12, Michael Porter Jr. Number 11, Brandon Ingram. Number 10, Norman Powell. Number 9, Jalen Johnson. Number 8, DeMar DeRozan. Number 7, Mikal Bridges. Number 6, Jimmy Butler. 5, Kawhi Leonard. 4, Scotty Barnes. 3, Franz Wagner. 2, Kevin Durant. And at number 1, LeBron James.
All right, for me at number 15, I've got Aaron Nesmith, 14, Mikal Bridges, 13, Amin Thompson, 12, Cam Johnson, 11, Trey Murphy III, 10, Brandon Ingram, 9, OG Anunoby, I butchered that for sure, 8, DeMar DeRozan, 7, Jimmy Butler, 6, Franz Wagner, 5, Jalen Williams, 4, Kawhi Leonard, 3, Kevin Durant, 2, LeBron James, and number 1, unfortunately, has to go to Jayson Tatum. So that is our top 15 small forwards going into this 2025-2026 season. Let us know, who do you think has the better list? This was definitely a jumbled up list. You know, we had different criteria, different position, confusions, stuff like that. So very unique list for the both of us. Let us know who got it right, who got it wrong. And yeah, we'll end things here. Check out the socials. Make sure you are giving a 5-star rating and review on the podcast. Like and subscribe on YouTube, do all that. Hoops, anything you want to say before we head out?
Pretty much just mirroring Memo's words per usual. If you guys like our content, please make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share. Follow us on all platforms. If you liked the video today, make sure to definitely continue to stay tuned, because we will be continuing this series next week and the week after, and leading into the regular season. So yeah, NBA season is shortly approaching, so definitely stay tuned and look forward to that.
Yeah, for sure. Subscribe, follow the podcast. But yeah, we'll end it here. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you all next week. Goodbye.